Welcome to the King and Chapman Show. It is Friday, May 10th. I am Brent Chapman, and with me is the original Fab One, Jimmy King. What
I
up,
am the
Jimmy?
king. I am the king. What's up, B?
You are the king. This is a different crown that you're doing today.
Yeah, because I think LeBron do this one. LeBron does this, so I'm gonna do this.
Well, considering you were the one that created the King nickname for LeBron that he took from you, you should tell us, is it this? Is it this? Is it this?
Well, it
Is it
depends. It
this?
depends. It depends on how you get up that morning, how you feel, right? Sometimes you might want to do it one hand, and you just might put it on this way. Sometimes you might want to be delicate with it and place it on the crown of your head. Sometimes you just might want to fit it on there snugly. Who knows?
Well, that is a lot of different crown exploits. You can tell by my athletic expertise and acumen that I've never put the crown on my head because there's
But
been no
B,
celebrating
hey, it's
required.
King and Chapman, right? There's a crown on both our names.
Can we
It's
get
big
rid
enough to
of
fit both our heads.
what if we just get rid of the and we go King Chapman?
King
Now
Chapman.
that I
Dash.
like.
King Dash Chapman. I love it.
the King Chapman. All right. All right. Well, Jimmy, I am actually still in Duval.
Now, hey, they let it be known, didn't they?
They did. For those that do not know, if you live in Jacksonville, you don't say Jacksonville. You have to chant Duval County. All
I
right,
love
there
it.
we go. We won't go down that road again, but I still am in Jacksonville. But Monday we'll be back, Jimmy. I'll be back at the home digs, and we'll be rocking and rolling. But Jimmy, we have at the end of our show last night, the Cavs were stomping on the Celtics with a few minutes left in the game. And we were talking about that, and we were shocked by the 25 point victory that the Cavs put on the Celtics. They got handled, and I don't know what to say. I thought short of a 80-point Donovan Mitchell miracle game that they weren't going to have a chance, but they walked into Boston at the Garden and won by 20 points. Oh, Jimmy, was game 2 an anomaly, or are the Celtics in trouble?
I think it was an anomaly. I don't believe the Celtics are in trouble, but who knows? What do I know? I didn't think Cleveland would win another game.
You're the one
Or
that
at
said it would
best,
be
a
a
gentleman's
sweep.
sweep. At best. So that's their one game that I really didn't see coming, and they beat them handedly, which is another kind of concern at home or on the road in Boston's arena. So yeah, they could definitely win another game the way that they played last night. And I'm concerned about Boston. I just thought that they would take care of business, particularly losing the way that they have in the past couple of years. This kind of looks and feels like the same kind of Boston Celtic letdowns that we've seen.
I do believe this is a one-off, although it's a little scary that it happened in Boston, and now they got to go back and get two in
In
Cleveland.
Cleveland.
But I will say this: I just think the Celtics are just so much better than the Cavs. I just do not believe that the Cavs can go toe to toe with the Celtics over the course of a 7-game series.
That was my feeling as well. Like I felt like adamantly about that. That's why I was like they're going to get swept. But last night's game, if you look at the numbers, the Boston Celtics they had some people in double figures, but the rest of the team, no one really got over 5 points.
So the bench, there
5
was no bench
points.
support in the
Yeah,
game.
no bench support. So it's not just on Tatum. Tatum had 25. Jaylen Brown had 19. Drew Holiday really has to step up. He played 35 minutes, only had 4 points. But D White also has to step up, play 30 minutes, only had 10 points. But it's not just on them. Supporting cast got to step up. Conversely, if you look at Cleveland, Karis LeVert, who is again a Michigan alumni, always representing Michigan Go Blue, had 21 in 27 minutes. So the production level for the Cavaliers bench was definitely a factor for them
Yeah,
right
I
there.
don't see, Jimmy, how the Celtics, I think this is going to be kind of a wake up call to them. I think they're 5-0 so far in the playoffs, and we talked about, sorry about that. We talked about, against the Heat, how, they learned from the mistakes of last year, and they've been riding it pretty easy. So, and the Cavs were zero match for them in game one. I mean,
Mhm.
they just ran them out of the building. So this might sort of been like a little letdown. I suspect um, they'll turn it around and just probably win both in Cleveland and come back to Boston with a 3-1 series lead. But I think that if we're here on Monday and the series is still tied, or we got something to talk about here. This might go a little bit longer than we have, but than we thought. But I'm going with the Celtics will probably stick this out. So moving along, Jimmy, to our next topic. You and I earlier in the week were talking about how Luka and Kyrie were a 1-2 punch. Well, they got punched, all right. They got punched square in the jaw by SGA and the Oklahoma City Thunder. So here's my concern today, and I'm doing this fairly to say
Mhm.
today, Tim Legler made a comment that I think was worth discussing. He asked the question: is Luka cooked? Is he done? So let me explain. He's dealing with a sprained right knee
Mhm.
and is going up against one of the best defenders in the league, Oklahoma City's Lou Dort.
Mhm.
He was 6 of 19 shooting, um, only had 19 points. That snaps a 24 game streak of playoff games with at least 20 points. And he was only 1 of 8, Jimmy, from 3-point range. Um, I I don't know, man. I really thought this was the Mavs year, but if he's hurt and a sprained right knee isn't something that gets better with playing time. What do you
I
think?
think,
Do you agree with Tim Legler? Is Luka Doncic cooked? Is he done? Is this over for the Mavs this year?
well, just I don't know the severity of the injury, but if it's going to hamper him, um, his mobility, then obviously yes. And if he could play, if he could give them 70%, 75%, then I believe that they can win. But if he can't give them that, if he's less than that, then I don't see the Mavericks moving forward. The same thing kind of with the issue that the Mavs had is the same issues that the Celtics have. They don't have any scoring from the bench. Tim Hardaway Jr. has been hurt. He's usually typically the one who gives them a lift. Another Michigan guy, but he's been injured, and so for him to kind of get his legs back under him, get his win and timing down is key. But for Luca, he's the type of player that the other guys feed off of. So he has the ability that he doesn't necessarily have to be 100%, even if he's still a great player at 75, 70%, and creating plays and making plays for other guys. Now, what's going to have to happen is those guys are going to have to get buckets. They can't have those lax moments or those moments where they blow layups or lobs. A lot of times they miss those opportunities. They have to put those shots down, opportunities for the Mavs to win.
Jimmy, I don't believe the Mavs can win the NBA playoff or championship without a full 100% Luka. And so what I have observed and noticed is, and I'm curious what your his since this knee has been injured, his long range shooting has gone down, and he's hitting the front of the rim a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I suspect that he's not getting the same lift and
Lift.
bounce that he
Mm-hmm.
normally gets. And that's why a lot of the shots are coming up short.
Mm-hmm.
And so his knee is impacting his ability to shoot, and he's going to need to adjust. And I just top Luka with Kyrie, they have a real shot to contend. Injured Luka, even 70 or 80%. I mean, these teams are really good.
Absolutely.
Oklahoma City, the
It's
Nuggets, the Wolves, the
Hey,
Celtics.
look, it's a tall order
These
at
teams are
100%.
really good.
Yeah, it's a tall order at 100%. So what's going to have
Yeah.
to happen is that his teammates are going to have to lift him up. He's been lifting them up all year, and now he's injured. They're going to have to step their game up individually. 2 3 points difference, locking people down, shaving points off defenders. That's how you make up the lack of production that Luka is not going to be able to give you point wise. He could still be a decoy. He could still draw double teams at certain times if they scheme and play the right way. But Luka is good enough to uh, to push the Mavericks, or at least keep the Mavericks competitive in a playoff game. But I do agree. I think it's a tall order. It's going to be tough for them to win if he's not 100%. But I think they can be competitive and maybe win a game or two if Luca's 70 75%.
Jimmy, on Thursday's show, we talked about the NBA MVP voting, which went to Nikolai Jokic. Today, we're going to talk about the NBA Rookie of the Year voting, which went to Victor Wembanyama, the number one pick out of France, 7'4" gangly, skinny green bean guy that, like, honestly,
That
I,
got
I saw
game.
him. I saw him at Summer League, and I thought for sure he would break in half about 10 games into the season. Like, I mean, there's no way this guy is going to last in the NBA, is what I was thinking. Well, he's the third Spur to win Rookie of the Year behind the great Admiral David Robinson, and Tim Duncan as well. And he didn't just win the award. He was the unanimous Rookie of the Year, taking every first place vote,
First place.
finishing, yes, finishing behind him was Chet Holmgren of Oklahoma City and Brandon Miller of the Charlotte Hornets. Jimmy, do you think that Victor Wembanyama, otherwise known as Wemby, deserved to be unanimous?
Absolutely. I mean, I think
Tell us
obviously
why,
Chet.
Jimmy.
Well, particularly because I think that's a concession to him kind of being pushed out of the Defensive Player of the Year award. If you look
Mm,
at his stats compared to um,
Gobert.
Gobert, to Rudy Gobert, his stats his stats literally, like, they trump Rudy's almost double. So as a rookie, putting up those numbers, he easily could have won Defensive Player of the Year. So he deserved Rookie of the Year unanimously as well.
So you think he deserved to be the unanimous Rookie of the Year because he got jobbed on Defensive Player of the Year?
Yeah,
I
that's
disagree.
a nice concession.
I disagree with that. Cool blocks don't make you Defensive Player of the Year. Grinding it out and shutting down the best player and one of the best teams in the league makes you Defensive Player of the Year. Rudy Gobert is a beast, and I think we're seeing that come to full fruition right now in the playoffs. So I don't think Wemby got robbed. I think that Rudy earned Defensive Player of the Year. I do think there were some other good players. I think what Chet Holmgren brought to the Oklahoma City Thunder is a big piece of why they're performing at a high level today. Again, a team that came out of nowhere, with a strong rookie. And then Brandon Miller played great for the Hornets. So, but yes, I'll agree that Wemby was the guy and probably deserved to be unanimous. But there were some other good players this year and they were in the consideration. So talking
Absolutely.
about the Charlotte Hornets, we can talk about this, Jimmy. They announced yesterday that they have
Mhm.
hired Boston Celtics assistant coach Charles Lee as their new head coach. Um, Charles Lee will finish the playoff series with the Celtics, and then he will join the Hornets as their new head coach. The Hornets, as we talked about, had the third finalist for Rookie of the Year in Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball, who's a great player but has been injured lately. Those are two very good players. But Jimmy, I was looking at Sporting News and ESPN and some of these ranking the best available coaches, and you have names like Mike Budenholzer and Chris Quinn and JJ Redick and Mike D'Antonio and Mark Jackson and Becky Hammond, right? Nowhere on these lists that I was researching did I see Charles Lee. Did the Hornets make the right choice with Charles Lee?
Well, I don't know if they made the right choice. Time will tell, but obviously they're comfortable with it. They come from a good pedigree in the Boston Celtics and with under Budenholzer with the Atlantic Hawks and Milwaukee Bucks as an assistant. So I, I want to say kudos to the Hornets for not, hiring what they call retreads or head coaches that had positions before, um, and they get rehired or get fired and then rehired, and then
Yeah.
guys seemingly don't get opportunities. So kudos for the Hornets for giving him the opportunity to see what he can do or to show what he could do. But again, his pedigree speaks for itself.
Jimmy,
Um,
what do you think goes into getting a head coach? Like, what do you think as a player the Hornets are thinking? You've got a top rookie in Brandon Miller. You've got a guy on a max contract with LaMelo Ball. What are you as a general manager? What are you thinking? What are you looking for in a coach? You don't need a big name. You need a guy.
so
What would you be looking for if you were in their position?
I think for me, like if I was an active general manager, the thing that I would look for is a manager, an actual team manager, not necessarily a coach. I would expect the head coach to bring in, say, in football terms, an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator,
Yeah.
and he kind of be a hybrid in between, right? But also, I think the thing that goes unnoticed is a manager of personalities. I want a coach who can manage big personalities who are able to, kind of almost psychologically, get guys to buy into the system, to buy into the program, and to get the best out of them while doing so. So I need almost, a guy who, um, like a whisper, like Phil Jackson, who can talk to a Michael Jordan, and have him tone his game down, or at least integrate his game enough to elevate everybody else's. The same with the Kobe Bryant, the same with the Shaquille O'Neal. So that's, I think, would be the main attribute that I look for as a guy who's a manager of personalities.
Yeah, I think that's a great insight, right? It's like, at the professional level, what I'm hearing you say is it's not so much about teaching the players how to play basketball. It's about managing their personalities. I do think though that scheme is important, and just like Phil Jackson, he's a great example, right? He had a scheme.
Mm-hmm.
He got the right guys to fit in the scheme.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to have somebody that can manage the personalities, and you have to have somebody that can put the players in the right spots. You're not going to change what they are as a player, but you
No.
got to take the players you have that your GM gives you and put them in a position to succeed. So the problem is a fan, and I'm the fan here on this show. As the fan, I got great players and I look at names on this list that I know, Sam Cassell and Mike Budenholzer and Mark Jackson. And that's what I want for my team, right? But I don't really know, to your point, who's going to really go in and do these, manage these, and put these guys in the right spot, manage these personalities. So you're right, time will tell. Charles Lee appears to have experience, has been with Budenholzer, has been with the Celtics, has been, involved in the league for a while. So, they've done their due diligence, and we'll see if it plays out, but kind of a surprise, right? So
Absolutely.
a surprise pickup, but, they're the Hornets. So let's find out how that goes. Now, Jimmy, we've done a lot of basketball. So the next two topics, we're going to divert way, 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 way from basketball. So
Basketball on ice.
Basketball on ice. 2 nights ago, the 2024 NFL Draft Lottery. So during the playoffs, they hold the lottery. They put, I think it's like 15 or 16 ping pong balls, Jimmy. So the NBA does something similar.
Mm-hmm.
They take the ping pong balls, depending on where you finished, you get certain number of ping pong balls. I think this is all rigged, and I'll get to that in a minute. But here's the thing. You put this certain number of ping pong balls. For example, the San Jose Sharks had a 25.5% chance. So I think they had 25% of the ping pong balls in the cage, right? Now, here's why I think it is BS and it's rigged. Because it literally, based on exact percentages, 25, 13, 11, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, all the way down, the percentages that the team had, the number of ping pong balls they had. And that's exactly how the draft order came out. Exactly. Perfectly. So you're telling me you filled the thing up with 1,000 ping pong balls or 100 or however many ping pong balls they put in there, and they pulled them out exactly by the percentage. There wasn't some sneaky Buffalo Sabres ping pong ball that got lodged and came out. It's horse manure. I don't know how they do it, but there's not, this is nonsense. Okay. So the San Jose Sharks are going to be drafting number 1, and they're going to be getting Macklin Celebrini, who is the Boston University star, and he's the number 1 overall pick. That's who everyone was going after. He will be playing for the San Jose Sharks. I know you're not a big hit hockey guy, Jimmy, so I'm not even going to talk about hockey. What I want to talk about is the draft lottery system fair, or should we just do you lose, you pick? In the NFL, if you're the crappiest team, you get the first pick. You suck. My favorite was many years ago when Andrew Luck was coming out. Suck for luck. Every fan base, suck for luck. Suck for luck, right? What is wrong with that? Why do we have to have ping pong balls?
Because it adds to the drama. This is entertainment. This is TV. That's what it's about. They want to draw eyes to something that's like, it's almost like a magic trick. They're like, look at these bouncing balls. While they're over here like, okay, here's the first pick, here's the second pick, here's the third pick. But so here's a real story, right? And it's real time because Shaquille O'Neal, shout out to Shaq, who's also my frat brother, Rue. So he just told a story last couple days ago on TNT about how, and on a podcast similarly in a couple of previous days. He told a story about when he was the draft pick in the NBA. He was sitting there at the draft. The late David Stern, great David Stern, rest in peace, came out. Well, first of all, let me backtrack. First of all, they asked him where he wanted to play. And he said, they asked him, do you want to play in warm weather or cold weather? He said warm weather. So they come out on stage. They have the envelope, looks down at Shaq, winks at Shaq, and then says, "With the first pick of the NBA draft, the Orlando Magic selects." And so Shaq understood that, hey, that's just
They
how
picked
it
his
goes.
name. They picked his
So, so to answer your question, hell yeah, this is big business, baby. This is entertainment. You think they want a number one? Here's another example. Eli Manning.
name.
He was
Yeah.
like, I'm not going to whoever picks me. I'm not playing for them. I want to play for the
Ah.
Giants. And look what happened.
So I understand what you're saying. Now I got it. In the NFL, it has to be a public sort of I ain't playing for you, and then they gotta switch picks and stuff. In the NBA and the NHL, Shaq just goes, I don't want to play for him, wink, wink, wink. And
Wink,
they
wink.
they they the
Yeah.
ping pong
The ping
balls
pong
come out a
balls, yeah.
certain way.
One might be a little colder than the other, right?
Yeah,
Isn't that what they said?
that's the famous. You nailed it. I was thinking the same thing. The famous Patrick Ewing, when they did the Knicks were not supposed to. They pulled out
Now
the
you
envelope. They
know the Knicks was going.
froze
It
the
was in New
envelope.
York. Patrick Ewing coming out. Come on.
They froze the envelope so that Ewing would be the number one pick for the Knicks. You are right, Jimmy. This is nonsense. So this goes back to my point. If you finish last, you get the first pick. Let it play out. I don't care about tanking and all that stuff.
If you
No more
last, you get the first pick.
manipulation. I hate this. This is nonsense.
Well, where's
Shaq
the fun
proves
in
it.
that? There's no fun in that. Like you got to have some kind of excitement about who gets the pick. If you're the last team, you
Jimmy,
automatically gets the first pick. No,
I don't want to hear as a fan that my team got screwed because David Stern asked Shaq if he likes warm weather or cold weather. I mean, that's fair. Or that they wanted to hook up the
You
Knicks
have
with
to keep
Patrick
the
Ewing.
superstars happy, right? What would the league or the operation be like if your top employees are disgruntled?
So
You
what
got
you're
them
telling me,
leaving,
Jimmy,
going
is
for wanting to get traded. No. Take care of that off top, so you can at least get 5, 6, 7, 8 years out of them before they start flip flopping around.
you know what else was on TV a couple weeks ago, Jimmy? The Monday Night Raw draft. And that sounds about as random as this. I guess Vince McMahon just pulled it off. It's all wrestling. It's all WWF.
That's my point, right?
Well, that's what Rick Carlisle is
who
saying,
pushes
bro.
the hype machine better than WWE? It's all about generating eyeballs, generating interest, generating viewership. Because really, that's what it's about. That Nielsen's rating is a big deal.
All right, Jimmy. Now moving along to a kind of sports topic. I'll be honest. It was either talking about Shohei Ohtani, which I just couldn't stomach tonight, or talking about the Met Gala. Now, I chose the Met Gala because a couple nights ago was the roast of Tom Brady. And
My
Tom
guy,
Brady is
another
famous.
Michigan guy.
Tom Brady loves the Met Gala. So I thought, in honor of Tom Brady, we would discuss the Met Gala. The Met Gala, fashion icon Anna Wintour keeps a very tight guest list for the Metropolitan Museum of Art Gala in New York City every year. But in recent years, it has been well represented by professional athletes. This year, that includes Venus and Serena Williams, Russell Westbrook, Angel Reese, Nelly Corda, Odell Beckham Jr. Jimmy, do you think the athletes represented well at the Met Gala? Did they dress fly? Show us some of those pictures, Nate. Oh, there's Angel Reese. Woo!
Gorgeous.
She cleans up.
Beautiful.
Yeah, she is great.
You have exactly range.
I don't think I've ever seen Angel Reese in anything but an LSU basketball jersey.
Well, shame on you, because she looks great.
Look at Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union. She's got like a mermaid dress on, and Dwayne's pimping the lavender coat. Now I could pull that off, Jimmy. The
Yeah,
purple.
but see, it's as being an athlete, right? It's also a stage of again a level of entertainment, but you have this stage in the eyes of fashion. So going all the way back to
Oh, look at that.
Walt Frazier in the '70s with the Knicks and his style.
Do you know who that is right
Dr.
there,
J,
Jimmy?
Dr. J and his style. I know, and you got Ben Simmons
Put
out there
Ben Simmons back up there. Jimmy, Jimmy, Jimmy
looking great.
King, basketball player, MMA, a martial artist. He can skate.
Absolutely.
He can play baseball. Put that back
Yeah.
up there, Nate.
And dress.
And
I
now
wouldn't have
we're
wore
talking
that. I wouldn't have
fashion
wore that.
expert. Fashion
That's
expert Jimmy
nice for
King.
him. I'd have
Tell
wore
me about
something.
that ensemble, Jimmy. What do we have here?
That's nice. That's nice for him. I love the bow tie. I keep the bow tie. I love the glasses. His hair is on point. His beard is trimmed nicely. Now the the jacket, the over jacket itself, I feel like it's a little bit too much material, like it's too much cloth going on there. I'd have probably cut that down a little bit, cut that in half, maybe had it on one shoulder instead of both shoulders, but he still represented a little good. Well, and I might have had a little scarf or something to go around um
All
my
right.
collar.
Oh my gosh. Did I just get a full Jimmy?
And
Jimmy.
what else we needed, like to top it off, we really need to see the shoes. We
Oh,
really
we're
need to
going
see the
back to
shoes.
Angel
Now,
Reese.
see,
Nate is back to Angel
my
Reese.
angel looks great, right? Real simplistic. So the dress off the shoulders, so showing a lot
It's
of
very
skin,
nice.
but not but very tasteful. She looks great.
No,
So
very,
athletes
very
have the ability
tasteful.
to
Like I
do this.
said, well, I think what's great about Angel Reese, what she's wearing, is like I said, most people have only ever seen her in a basketball jersey,
Mhm.
right? To show that she can dress up and look pretty and beautiful and put on a great gown and wear it the way you said, it's fantastic.
That's
Yeah,
why
she
events like the
hair
Met
is great.
Gala
Yeah,
are
her hair is
always great to
great.
pay attention to.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Jimmy, you on the King and Chapman show, you can talk football, you could talk basketball, you could talk some hockey. We got fighting, and we even have Jimmy King fashion advice for you. But now we're moving along to my favorite part of the show, the last word. Jimmy, what is your last word?
My last word is the draft is just a precursor to the show. Of course, it's fixed. And just like one of the greatest quotes that we've always heard, life is a stage. So the bigger the stage, life is all a stage. The
Jimmy,
bigger the stage,
Jimmy,
the bigger it imitates life, and vice versa.
you know, Elon Musk wonders if we're just living in the Matrix.
A simulated program, right? That's
Yeah,
what they
we
want to take the
may,
human
Jimmy.
element out of things and make everything digital. We're still analog. We don't have to be digital all the time. Everything is not automatic. We have to slow down and enjoy it. That's why the draft is a necessary. You have to slow down. You can't just be like, okay, you lost. Your last place, you pick first. No, 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 no. We need drama. We need some cheating.
Well, Jimmy, I'm going to end it a little bit more appropriately than life is rigged and we need some cheating to saying the following, wishing every mother out there a happy Mother's
Mother's
Day
Day,
this
absolutely.
weekend, including my mother, Kathy Chapman, and my
Absolutely.
wife, Carol Chapman, who has
Happy
raised
Mother's Day.
two great little boys. And Jimmy, do
And
you have
to my
anybody that
mother,
you would
Miss
like to
Naoki
wish happy
King, happy Mother's Day. Love you, Mama. Mwah.
Mama King? Happy Mother's Day, Mama King. Happy Mother's Day, Mama Chapman. Jimmy, we agreed on the last show that we would not both kiss peace. So I think you're going to kiss peace and I'm going to salute peace. All right. We got
Absolutely.
it?
Got
All
it.
right. Look, I'm telling you, it's worth going back and watching the end of the Thursday show where Jimmy and I both kissed at the
I
same.
promise we weren't kissing each other or trying
We were
to.
not, and you could tell we're not in the same room. But with that
And
said,
blowing kisses.
thank you, Jimmy. Have a great Mother's Day weekend.
You too, my
Thank
brother.
you, everyone, for watching. Happy Mother's Day and peace.
Peace. Mwah, mwah, mwah.